Hey Rock Buds, Papa. Hope you guys are doing well on this weekend before Thanksgiving. Grammy and I got back a few weeks ago from our trip to the area of Birmingham, Alabama, and then we went on up to Big South Fork on the Tennessee-Kentucky border, and then kind of west to the Nashville area. And I wanted to show you the rocks that I got collected there and just talk a little bit about them. But first, please subscribe if you like this video, and thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I do appreciate every single one of my rock buddies, the ones that just view the videos and the ones that subscribe too. So here we go. The first big pile I want to show you is Chert. And these rocks, these cherty rocks, came from the Fort Payne Chert formation and from the basically Mississippian limestone formation that's right on top of the Fort Payne Chert. So it's all chert that's been deposited in the foreland basin of the Alleghenian orogeny as Africa approached North America and pushed down on the continent, creating the foreland basin. And there was a lot of silicon in this foreland basin, and a lot of creatures that use silicon in their skeletal structure formed and deposited all this chert. Isn't it cool looking? It comes in all kind of different kind of shades and colors. It's chert. I've tested all this with the with the acid test, acid drip, and it doesn't fizz. So it's not limestone, it's chert, even though some of it does look very limestoney. Of course, that might be limestone because it's cold out here. It's 32 degrees. Chihuahua. And so the acid test might not work so good. And here we have limestone, surely limestone, all tested, and it all fizzes. This limestone is from the, it's Mississippian limestone mostly. And it was collected from the Mississippian limestone formations that are just northwest of Nashville, Clarksville, Tennessee, that general area. Isn't it beautiful? The white stuff is calcium carbonate, which is what limestone is made out of. And of course, this limestone formed in that same Alleghenian orogeny foreland basin, in the shallow parts of the basin where the seas were warm, because North America was in the tropics at that time. And all these shell creatures and coral reefs developed in this warm, shallow, fairly clear water, and when they died, their bodies fell down and it got all mashed into limestone, which is calcium carbonate. And some of the pressure actually pushed calcite crystals, calcium carbonate crystals, which is calcite, and that's the white stuff, into the rock. This specimen has kind of lines of chert in it. It should be, I guess, more like that. Cherty lines in it. So Mississippian limestone. Okay, and here we have some hunks of coal from the Cumberland Plateau in the vicinity of the Big South Fork National River Recreation Area. Not in there, because I don't collect rocks in parks. I go really just outside the park, and you can find the same rocks. This coal also was deposited in the latter parts of the Alleghenian orogeny, as the huge Alleghenian mountains, also known as Africa or Gondwana, were eroding into the foreland basin that we talked about. and forming these massive coastal plains and these massive coastal plain swamps. If you've ever been to our Okefenokee swamp in Georgia, same thing, where all the vegetation, fern trees of the tropical Pennsylvanian period developed. And then the sea would rise and cover them, or more sand would come down from the mountains and cover them, and they got mashed into coal. And the coal powered the early industrial revolution around here in Birmingham, and also in all over Tennessee and Kentucky back in those days. So coal, and these are rounded and smooth because they've been in the Big South Fork River for eons, perhaps. Okay, and here we have red mountain formation rocks, and you can very quickly see how red they are in places. They contain hematite, which is a reddish, brownish form of iron, and this hematite was the iron ore source for the Birmingham, Alabama iron foundry days. Let's get some close-ups. This glassy kind of rock, I'm pretty sure, is slag from the iron foundry. You know, in the other video about this red mountain formation, I talked about how they would put limestone in with the iron ore and the coal, and the limestone would take out all the impurities, and so you get this glassy slag, and in some situations it's a pretty blue glass, but here we have a kind of a amber looking hunk of slag. Red Mountain hematite. Here's a really nice piece of the Red Mountain formation. It's sandstone and siltstone that's loaded with this hematite iron. So where did all this hematite iron come from that's in the Red Mountain formation? Well, by Silurean time, which was about 450 million years ago to 400 million years ago, the tectonic mountains, these island arc mountains, had eroded way down, and the bottom of them was made of mafic rock, like gabbro pluton and basalt lava, and also there was ocean crust involved in a back arc basin. And all these rocks are very high in iron and magnesium, and so this stuff was eroding into a shallow sea, and closest to the eroding mountains, it was mostly sandstone. Here in Georgia, if you go to northwest Georgia, you find the Red Mountain, especially if you're familiar with the Pinhoti Trail. There's a Pinhoti Trailhead up there in northwestern Georgia, and it is there's a lot of this Red Mountain sandstone rock there. But as this material was being washed down into the Foreland Basin, which by this time had become quite shallow, the more mud-rich part of it was washed further west into the area of Alabama. And that part, the muddy part, the siltstone, the mudstone, shaly stuff, was the part that was really rich in iron and hematite iron. And that's what was mined in Birmingham, Alabama. But the Red Mountain formation, it's called different things in different places, but this layer of iron-rich red rock runs from Alabama all the way up into I think New York. Okay, rock buddies, that's the story on these cool rocks that I found. Can you tell I'm rather obsessed with rocks? Anyway, you're free to use any of the rock images in any of my videos you want. Take a screenshot of them and use them in any way you want, free of charge. I'm all about the transfer of information. So this is Papa saying happy rock hunting to all my excellent rock buddies. Papa out.